Hi all, and welcome back to our weekly overview of the cryptocurrency market on behalf of Apex Signals. We're a little bit later this week because there's been some interesting goings on over the last couple of days that I wanted to see how they were going to play out, and we're a lot more positive this week than we have been over the past few weeks. And starting on Wednesday, we've seen a strong bull run come back into cryptocurrency markets, and as always, it's been driven by Bitcoin. We can see here the overall market cap, and we are back over the 300 billion level. $300 billion, of course, for the first time since the end of March, and into Friday we're at around $310 billion. So we've seen big gains over the past couple of days, upwards of 20%. And we have a quick look over here at Bitcoin. We can see that we're up towards 8,000. So we've passed $7,500 for the first time since the end of March also, and that took off. You can see here on the right of the chart recently, between Wednesday and Thursday, and we saw around $1,000 gain in half an hour at one point, and 20% up in 6 hours. And there are some reports that that's potentially the highest 1 hour volume in Bitcoin's 10-year history that led to that surge yesterday. And it looks as though that the bull sentiment has returned to the market, and there's a number of factors which suggest that this is slightly more than a very short-term surge. And the main one can be said to be the fact that there's been what's termed technically as a short squeeze. So that means that the initial surge up by Bitcoin forced traders holding short positions to close them off, accepting losses, and that increased the momentum behind the push upwards. And the fact that a lot of those short positions have been closed out means that there's a big change to underlying market sentiment. So hopefully we'll see further gains over the next couple of days. We're above that crucial 7,500 support level now, which we've been trying to get to for a few weeks, and this time, as opposed to a couple of weeks ago when we were hovering around the 7,000, 7,500 level, there's significant momentum in the market, which makes a big difference. So there's some hope that we can hold there. So it'll be very interesting to see over the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of days, whether we can hold strongly above that 7,500 position and push over into the 8,000s. So that would obviously be the hope, and keep the momentum going so that we can see some support underneath that 7,500 level, and if we can maintain that over the next few days, and we could see a further push higher. So why has this happened? That's obviously the interesting question after sustained bear market over the last couple of weeks, and it looks as though that it's really a combination of the different negative factors that were weighing on cryptocurrency markets more general, and Bitcoin specifically having faded away, and the selling momentum has dropped off. So it looks as though many of those that were positioned or had the sentiment to sell have now sold off, and the drop in that sell sentiment, as well as a little boost, presumably by one or two particularly big purchases, has led to a turnaround. Now, the fact that the rise happened so quickly does suggest that there was one or possibly more than one big buy in the market, and exactly who was behind that big buy is an interesting question. Some people are speculating that it happened as a result of potentially one or more institutional investors entering the market. The usual conspiracy theories around Bitcoin whales manipulating the market are obviously there as well. Let's hope the former is actually the case. And there was also an interesting bit of news that came out in the last couple of days where an Islamic cleric said that he believed that cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin were Sharia compliant. So there's always a chance that might have had something to do with it as well. And we might get some clarity over the next couple of days around what might have led to a big surge in buying. But overall, definitely very positive. So let's see how that pans out. But I'm hopeful that there's at least a chance that the bear run has come to an end. Although we can never be sure. We'll have to see whether the momentum can be sustained now, and it will be important for that to be sustained over a few days if we're going to avoid it leveling off and potentially dropping back again. So if we have a look now at EOS has been a particularly interesting story over the last few months, and it's been the biggest gain over the major cryptocurrencies over the last couple of days, and that actually started a bit earlier than the Bitcoin surge. I mistakenly said Bitcoin surge was over Wednesday, Thursday, but it was really late yesterday that it happened, so apologies for that. Apologies for that inaccuracy. The EOS surge came over Wednesday, Thursday initially. You can see here on the chart, and it's continued into today, although with a little bit more volatility. So it's now above $9, which has been a resistance level recently, and we'll see that it's possible for EOS to go towards $10 now. And we saw it was 30% jump between late Wednesday and Thursday morning, which is obviously extremely significant. Now, what provoked that jump? The reason behind it is fairly clear, and there's not a lot of debate about that. And it was the announcement that there's going to be an airdrop of EOS DAC tokens. Now, EOS DAC is a community platform for block building, which is part of the EOS ecosystem. And I don't know how much you guys know about EOS, but it's not even fully launched yet, and it will launch in the summer, the platform. It's being tipped as potentially a rival to Ethereum, and it has some advantages over Ethereum in terms of the scalability of the blockchains which can run on the platform, and it's being built as an enterprise solution for smart contracts, ICOs, and most of the decentralized applications, obviously, and most of the things that Ethereum does. However, it's also being done in a way which gives much more decentralized control to the community rather than developers. So there's hopefully going to be less vested interest within the platform. There's a separate company which is building the EOS DAC platform, and that company won't have any interest in the platform once it's launched. They also won't own any of the EOS DAC tokens. Now, the airdrop will take place on the 15th of April, and holders of EOS that have more than 100 EOS in their Ethereum wallets. Of course, EOS is currently built on the Ethereum platform itself, or the ICO is rather. And those who hold more than 100 tokens will receive EOS DAC tokens on the 15th of April, and there's a bit of a race taking place at the moment to build up that holding before the deadline, which has led to the price surge. Now obviously there's a bit of a danger there that immediately after the airdrop the price of the EOS coins could drop significantly and immediately. We've seen that happen many times in the past, and it's almost certain that there will be a drop once that airdrop is completed. However, generally speaking, EOS does look like a very prospective platform, so it's definitely one to keep an eye on here. It's also a risk because it's at the moment it's a concept until it actually goes live and starts operating, and we start to see partnerships developing, and we see how much activity is actually taking place on the EOS platform. Then it's a risk. So it's a real startup cryptocurrency. But despite that, it's now the 5th largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization, and over the last couple of days it's overtaken Litecoin to move into 5th. So it's bumped Litecoin down into 6th position. So we'll see how that continues. It's an interesting story to watch unfold, and one to keep an eye on, with long-term prospects, as a token to hold. It's not a recommendation, of course, but just a personal opinion that it's an interesting one. So that's all we have time for today. We'll be earlier again next week. We'll go back to our normal Wednesday publishing slot, unless there's something particular which is happening at the time that we want to, or that I want to see how it pans out. So enjoy the rest of your week, or the weekend rather, prospective trading, and I'll speak to you all again next week. Bye for now.